Okay, we have one more example to go over in our Module 3 practice problems here, and that is going to be another application for determining vector magnitudes using those rules that we were talking about with vector equations. And that's going to be example 317, which is found at the bottom of page 64. So if we go underneath our camera here, the bottom of page 64, this is our example. So it says here we have a vector equation, a plus b minus c plus d is equal to e plus f. And each one of those vectors is identified here. Now, as we can see, A and E look a little bit different, right? So just like our last problem, we know the directions of A and D, but we don't know each of the magnitudes. Now, as we look here, we're not afraid of that because we know we can have as many as two unknowns in a vector equation, but what we need to do is we need to make sure that they're on two sides of the equal sign, right? That they're spread apart. We can't have both of them on the same side. So as we look here, our equal sign, you'll see that we have A and D on the same side. So what we need to do is we need to move one of them to the other side in order to get our two unknowns not on the same side. So we'll do that work here kind of manually if you would. So it really doesn't matter which one. As I peek ahead to what the book did, and the only reason I'm going to do it like that is so we have another comparison for what it's going to look like in the end. And they chose to move D to the other side. Okay, they chose to move D to the other side. So we're going to have, I'm just going to leave it in this order for right now. A plus vectorially B minus vectorially C equal to E plus vectorially F. And then this would be minus vectorially D. Okay, minus vectorially D. I'm going to get this out of the way here. So any questions about how that was rearranged, if you would? So we really took D from this side. It was added. It was positive. So we put it to the other side and it became negative. Okay, it became negative. Now, the next thing I want to do is, as we said earlier, if you can, it's kind of nice not to have to deal with negatives if we don't have to. We have to deal with the negative of D, sorry, because we have to get it on the other side. And whether it was a negative D or a negative A, we have to have a negative, okay? So that one we can't resolve with the rules and not have two unknowns on one side. But you'll notice we also have a negative C here, okay? I'm going to get rid of that one. So I'm going to do it one more time. A plus vectorially B is equal to E plus vectorially F plus vectorially C. If it's negative on this side, it becomes positive on this side, and then minus D. Okay. Then lastly, since A is one of our unknowns, I really have to have it at the end here. So I'm just going to erase this line and I'm going to change the order because I need B to be first because it's fully defined, and it's going to be plus A. A remains positive on this side. Now, if you don't take C out, and I don't think they did, off of the left-hand side, it's not a big deal. I just like dealing with more positives than negatives. Do you know what I mean? So that's the only reason. The very last thing we're going to do is we are going to write this one more time. B plus A is equal to E plus vectorially F plus vectorially C plus vectorially negative D. So this means we're going to add a tip to tail, but we're going to change its direction to the negative like we did in our subtraction section the last time we were together. Okay, so make sure that you rewrite that so that there's parentheses so that you have the plus the negative D in this case. So this is going to be the equation that we are going to work with in CAD. Okay, so let's go back over to CAD and get our vectors all set. So go ahead and go into AutoCAD, set up your vectors here. B, C, and E are all fully defined, and then A and D are the ones that we know direction only. So I am starting with a new start file. And I'm going to put my B in place first. I added in the equation as well with the vectors known and unknowns. How many have the diagram all set and ready to move on? Okay, Lars, we're finishing up yet? That's okay. That's all right. Virtually, are you guys doing okay? Open up the chat here. All good. Thank you, David. Ryan and Garrett, you guys. Okay, excellent. All set, Lars? Are you good? Or are you just a little bit more?
I'm busy.
Okay. So I need this to be 120, not 130. Right? 180 minus 60 is 120, not 130. I put mine at 130. Okay. All set? Okay. All right. Let me. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're now going to use the equation that we established earlier. So it's going to be B plus factorially A is equal to E plus F plus C plus the negative D. We will deal with the plus the negative D once we have everything in place, okay? So we're going to start on the left-hand side here. So we're going to add B and A. So we need to establish our origin. So I'm just going to go back to my object line and I am going to create my crosshairs, if you would, large enough so that when I do my screenshot, I'll be able to see it. So here's my origin, and I'm simply going to move vector B so that its tail is at the intersection of that origin. Okay. Then on the end point of B, at the tip of B, I'm going to put my direction of A. So I am going to do a nearest here, and I don't know, right about there, I'll put my A. Okay. I don't know if it's going up or down at this point. I'm just going to put it at the end point there. Okay. So that exhausts everything on the left-hand side of the equal sign. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross over the equal sign, which means I'm going to go back to my origin. And with the first vector that I have, which is vector E, I'm going to place its tail at the origin. Okay. Then to the endpoint of that, oh, I didn't make my F. I am so sorry. Let me put my F in place here. It's just 100 going to the left. So it's not that big of a deal, but it was up a little higher. I guess I didn't notice it. Okay, so I better officially name it here. This is F. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to move that to the endpoint of E. So move F, its tail to the endpoint of E. So I have E plus F, then we're going to do a plus C, okay? So I'm going to move C here to the endpoint. Its tail is going to be at the endpoint of F. Now I'm going to kind of move my letters around here so that I can kind of make sure I know what I'm labeling here. Okay. And then on the endpoint of C, we're going to add the negative of D. Okay. So we are going to move D, and I'm just going to do a nearest shift right mouse button, and I'm going to put it on the endpoint of C. Okay. And I'm going to move D over. So I know where it's at. Now, what I'm looking for is the intersection of A and D. Because A and D are at the ends of each one of the left and the right sides, I need their intersection. And their intersection is right here. You see that? It's right there. So I am going to trim this away, this away, this away, and up here. Get rid of that. So I'm going to scooch C on the other side here. C is going to go here. A, we're going to have to probably point, okay, because that's going to be to this small little section here. And then D is going to go right here for right now, okay? All right, so you guys get the same thing here? Same looking diagram, okay? So from our origin, we've got B plus A. So that means if it's going to be adding A to B, A's arrowhead is going to be pointing up or down. Down, right? Because its tail has to be at the tip of B. So I'm going to draw my arrowhead of A right there. Okay, so it's going straight down. So it's B plus A. It's going to be equal to E plus F plus C plus the negative D. Okay, the negative D. Now let's talk about this. Since we have where's my equation? Plus the negative D, that means that the tail would be at the tip of C, and its tip would be down and to the right. But then that would be the negative D, right? So if that's the case, what would the positive D be? If negative D is down and to the right, what's the positive D? Up and to the left. So we're going to keep this a positive D because we want to know what is the direction of D, right? We don't want to know what the direction of negative D is. We want to know what the direction of D is. So negative would be down and to the left. Positive would be up and to the right. So we're going to go line here. And its arrowhead, I know it's going to be a little bit wonky, but it's going to be right there. Now, that means, now this is what you have to do. I'm going to be looking for this. I want you to change your equation here, okay? So instead of having plus the negative D, we're gonna put in there minus vectorially D. So that D is in its positive direction, but notice now it's tip to tip with C, okay? Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, because we want to know what is the magnitude and direction of D, not of negative D. All right, so we have everything placed. Now all we have to do is on our notes layer, let's do the dimensions or the lengths of each one of these. So I am going to add in, oopsie, my linear dimension for A. Probably have to pull it pretty far over. And I'm going to go back to annotate, go to the dimension style manager, go to modify, fit tab. I'll do 40 this time. Set current, close. Yeah, that's pretty good. So about 29.43, they have 30 for A. I know the book rounds, so I'm very confident in our value. Okay, and then we want to do the same thing for D. We're going to do an align dimension here. Endpoint to endpoint. And that is 68.4, which actually matches what the book has. Okay. So A is going to be, make sure you have your arrowhead on there to show the direction is down, and it's 29.43. And then D is up and to the left. Make sure you have your arrowhead going up and to the left. And you changed your equation to minus D. Because again, we want the magnitude and direction of D, not of negative D. Setting it up as negative D like we did, so we could say, oh, okay, the negative D would be down and to the right, means the positive is going to be up and to the left. So we want to identify the positive. So this is what you would use as your screenshot then for the last example for module 3 practice problems. Okay. So any questions on this diagram? All right, just going to peek back. This takes us to the very end of our PowerPoint presentation. And if I go back to our module and look at the practice problems here, we have now completed all the practice problems for module 3. Okay. Now, before you hand this in, don't forget, because this week, this is module 3. If you hand in your practice problems without answering the 2 questions here, 0. I don't want to do that. I don't want to give anybody a 0, but I've had some people forget and I have to remind them to add it to the comments. But now we've been doing this each week. So this is 3rd week. So make sure that you add your answer to this when you hand in. Okay. It's important. So, so any questions about the practice problems? Okay. So, so that's all the content that I plan on going over from our textbook to prepare you for assignment number 3. So what we'll do is I'm going to stop our recording here, and then we're going to go in and we're going to look formally at finishing up that assignment number 3.